Adoptive guardians missed my birthday again. Days later, Curtis sent me a bill for my brother's balloon ride. $200. We split even. I sent $1 with a note, not floating this time. Then I revoked every shared account and canceled their phones. They panicked, reported fraud. The bank called me. I laughed and said, "People say your 30s are when you really start figuring things out." I guess that's true. I just didn't expect the clarity to come like this. My name is Aaron. I'm 32 years old, and I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Nothing flashy. I work in IT, I have a decent apartment, and I hang out most weekends at a darts bar called O'Malley's, a hole-in-the-wall place with sticky floors and the best hot wings in the county. That's where I plan to celebrate my birthday this year. Nothing major. Just a few friends, a couple drinks, and a quiet toast to making it another lap around the sun. No expectations. At least, that's what I told myself. The day started like any other Thursday. I worked remotely, wrapped up early, and shot out a couple texts to my friends to confirm the plan. A few of them replied with a thumbs up or a "see you at 7." I checked my phone a few times throughout the afternoon, waiting for anything from my family. But it stayed quiet. By 7, I was 2 drinks in and still no word from them. Lena and Curtis, that's what I call them, even though they raised me since I was 6. My adoptive parents. They're not bad people, just clinical. The kind of folks who show up to parent-teacher conferences but never really notice when you're quietly falling apart. And then there's Lucas, my younger brother by adoption, but you'd think he was their biological kid with the way they fawned over him. He turned 28 last month. They threw a backyard bash with catering and string lights and a live folk band. Curtis even made a toast about legacy and gratitude. I watched it on Instagram. My birthday? Dead air. Still, I kept hoping. Maybe they'd forgotten the exact day. Maybe a call would come in late. I even gave myself until midnight. But when the clock rolled over and the notifications never came, something in me slumped. Not disappointment exactly. Something heavier. A tired kind of ache. Then, 4 days later, an envelope showed up in my mailbox. It was from Curtis. Neatly typed. Professional. An invoice for $235.50, half the cost of a shared experience birthday gift for Lucas, a hot air balloon tour over Door County. It included a note at the bottom, "Reimburse at your earliest convenience." I stared at the paper for a long time, then took out a single dollar bill and slid it into an envelope. I wrote a message in sharp black marker. "Not rising with you." Dropped it in the mailbox, flag up. That was it. That was the moment. I can't explain what broke, only that something did. A thread inside me, thin but familiar, quietly snapped. I had spent most of my life waiting for acknowledgement from people who only ever saw me as an obligation. But that dollar, that petty, bitter little dollar, felt like the most honest thing I'd ever sent them. It was the first time I didn't apologize for feeling forgotten. The first time I didn't make excuses for them. The first time I let the silence mean what it meant. The morning after I mailed Curtis the dollar, I sat on my couch with a mug of coffee and a feeling I hadn't felt in years, stillness. Not peace, exactly. Just the absence of that constant internal scramble to fix things before they collapsed. I didn't owe them anything, I realized. Not a single thing. So I started cutting cords. First up, the Netflix account. I had set it up years ago on my family email, thinking nothing of it. Everyone got a profile: Curtis, Lena, Lucas. Even his girlfriend, Mia, had one with her name in bubble letters. I logged in, hit Manage Access, and deleted every user but mine. Then I changed the password. I moved on to the meal delivery plan. It was supposed to be a shared family subscription, one I paid for but told myself was mutual. I clicked cancel. Then came the car share app, the Amazon Prime account, the monthly wine box that Lena insisted made her feel cultured. Gone. By noon, the first messages rolled in. Lena, "Hey sweetie, do you know what's going on with the HelloFresh account? We had a delivery scheduled." Curtis, "Netflix isn't working. Some kind of login issue." Lucas, "Dude, did you change the Spotify password? Mia's playlist is gone." I didn't answer any of them. I just sipped my coffee and watched the dots bubble, then disappear. Around 3 p.m., I got a call from the bank. "Mr. Wilcox?" the rep asked. "We had a report of potential fraud on a joint credit card you co-signed with Curtis Wilcox. He says the card has been frozen." I leaned back in my chair, calm as ever. "Not fraud," I said. "Intentional. I'm removing myself from all linked accounts." There was a pause. "Would you like to close the account entirely?" "Yes," I replied. "I would." The rep didn't say anything for a second. Then, understood. That night, around the same time I'd been sitting in the bar on my birthday, I noticed a new device logged into my Spotify. My profile was playing something upbeat and stupid. Lucas's gym playlist. They had remembered the account when they wanted music. Not the birthday. Not the person. Just the password. That was it. That was when everything crystallized. It wasn't that they forgot. It was that they didn't care enough to remember. And when they needed something, a ride, a subscription, a free meal. Suddenly I existed again. I stared at the music cue, then clicked sign out of all devices. It booted them instantly. The phone buzzed again. Lucas, what the hell, man? Lena, was it something we did? Curtis, you're acting irrationally. No, I was finally acting honestly. By midnight, I had updated every login, scrubbed every connection. I deleted the shared calendar, the Google Drive folder, the family group chat thread. Gone, gone, gone. And when I laid down that night, it wasn't guilt that kept me awake. It was the quiet realization that I had confused obligation with love for way too long. They hadn't failed to notice me. They had chosen not to. The next morning, I sat at my desk and stared at the spreadsheet I had built years ago, color-coded tabs for each shared plan I managed. Phone, insurance, travel, utilities. The stuff families usually divvy up. Except in ours, I had taken it all on, slowly and silently, because it was easier than arguing. I pulled open the cell plan tab. For lines under my account, mine, Curtis, Lena, Lucas, and Lucas's second phone, a work phone that he couldn't afford on his own. I hit the change plan button and dropped them all. No warning. Then came the group insurance. I removed them from the health policy. Deleted their driver info from my car insurance bundle, too. That would spike their rates, but I didn't care. I was tired of paying extra so they could coast for free. The last one hurt a little, the travel perks account. Years ago, I had bundled all of our miles and loyalty points under my name to get elite status. It made family vacations easier. Or at least that's what I told myself. Truthfully, I had hoped it would earn me some kind of permanent place at the table. I clicked Dissolve Family Group. A warning popped up. This action cannot be undone. Perfect. By noon, the call started. Curtis was first. His tone was clipped. Just got off the phone with the insurance agent. Says the policy lapsed. Care to explain? Yeah, I said calmly. I took my name off the account. You can't just do that, Aaron. That plan was for all of us. No, I said. It was for you. I paid for it. I managed it. And none of you even noticed until it stopped working. A beat of silence. You're being overdramatic. No, I replied. I'm being clear. He hung up. Then came an email from Lena. Subject line. Urgent. The body. Your father says the phones are off. I'm not sure what's happening, but this isn't the way to handle conflict. We need to talk. I marked it as read and archived it. Lucas texted next. Okay, what is going on? The insurance company says my coverage ended, Spotify's gone, and my phone's about to get shut off. Are you seriously doing all this because of a birthday? I didn't respond. That night, I lay on my couch, half watching TV, when my phone rang again. I let it go to voicemail, then played it back. It was Curtis. I don't know what kind of stunt you think you're pulling, but you're acting like a child. You can't just dismantle everything over one misunderstanding. His voice carried that same lecturing tone he always used when he thought he was right by default. I'm not apologizing for something that didn't happen, he said. So get over yourself. Click. That voicemail said more than any apology ever could. He didn't see it. Any of it. Didn't see me. Just the benefits of having me on the hook. And for once, the hook was out. It was a Thursday evening when the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone, and the pizza I'd ordered was still 15 minutes out. I peeked through the peephole inside. My sister, Erica, stood on the porch, arms crossed, expression tight with judgment. She was in one of her workout jackets, the kind that made her look like she'd just come from hot yoga, even though I knew she didn't sweat. I opened the door halfway. Didn't know we were still on speaking terms. She pushed past me without waiting for an invite. I don't know what's going on with you, Aaron, but you need to stop acting like a lunatic. I closed the door and leaned against it. Nice to see you too. She dropped her bag on the table and turned to face me. You've shut off every account Dad and Lena rely on. You canceled the insurance, the phone plan, the damn Costco membership. What are you trying to prove? I stayed quiet, watching her face. She wasn't here to understand. She was here to scold. They forgot my birthday, I said finally. Erica snorted. Seriously? That's what this is about? A birthday? No. I walked past her into the kitchen, poured myself some water, and tried to keep my voice even. It's about everything that came after. Or didn't. She followed, arms still crossed. You could have just said something. I turned to her. Why should I have to say anything? Why is it always my job to explain why I'm hurt? Why is it always me reaching out, checking in, picking up the slack? She rolled her eyes. Oh my God, Aaron, you're not the only one who does things for this family. I set the glass down a little too hard. Name one thing they've done for me. She paused. I stepped closer. I helped Lucas get his first car. I let Lena use my Amazon account for 2 years. Curtis has been mooching off my travel points since I was 25. I've never once asked for anything. Not for help, not for money, not even for recognition. And the one time I let myself expect a call, they ghost me. Then have the audacity to send me a bill for Lucas's balloon ride? That wasn't meant to be offensive, she said. But it was, I snapped. And so is you showing up here to tell me how I should feel about it. Erica looked away, her jaw clenching. You never said you wanted anything from us. Exactly, I said, quieter now. Because I knew you wouldn't give it. She looked at me then, really looked. And for a second, I thought maybe she got it. But she just shook her head. You're blowing this out of proportion. You're acting like we've been abusing you. I laughed bitterly. No, you've been using me. That's different. She grabbed her bag, already halfway to the door. You've always been so dramatic. No wonder they don't include you in things. That one hit harder than I wanted to admit. She opened the door. You could have handled this like an adult. I held her gaze. I did. I stopped pretending. She walked out without another word. I didn't watch her leave. But when the door clicked shut behind her, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Sure. Of myself. Of the line I had drawn. Of the fact that, no matter what came next, I wasn't going back. The first message came from my Aunt Meredith. Subject line. Thinking of you, sweetheart. Body. I heard things have been hard lately. Just wanted to say we're here if you need to talk. Love you. I hadn't spoken to her in almost a year. Then came a message from my cousin Trina on Facebook. Your mom said you're going through a rough patch. Sorry to hear you're struggling. Hope you find your way back to the family soon. And that's when it hit me. They were spinning it. Curtis and Lena had taken the narrative and twisted it into something palatable. In their version, I wasn't standing up for myself. I was lashing out. I hadn't pulled back out of years of exhaustion and disappointment. I had abandoned them in a time of need. They didn't forget my birthday. No, I was sensitive, misinterpreting things, possibly even having a breakdown. I wanted to scream, but instead, I logged out of everything. The messages kept coming. Uncle Rob, your parents are devastated. Curtis says you won't even return his calls. You know, families fight, Aaron. That doesn't mean you walk away. Family friend Carol, I ran into Lena at the store. She looked heartbroken. Said you're refusing to talk to anyone. You okay, hon? I didn't respond to any of them, but I could picture it clearly, Lena clutching her chest, Curtis shaking his head, painting me as the unstable one, the ungrateful one, the troubled son who had always been a little difficult, a little too quiet, a little too intense. They knew how to play the game. They'd been doing it my whole life. By the weekend, even Lucas's girlfriend Mia had messaged me. Not trying to pry, but your family's been really worried. Lena said you might be isolating? If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I sat there on my couch, phone in my lap, boiling. They weren't worried. They were embarrassed. They didn't miss me, they missed the access. The Spotify, the Prime shipping, the free insurance, the car rentals, the seamless support I had provided without asking for a thing in return. And now that it was gone, they were rewriting the story. Then, on a quiet Sunday afternoon, my phone rang again. I almost declined it out of habit, but it was Aunt Meredith. Something told me to answer. Aaron. Her voice was gentle, a little shaky. Do you have a minute? I stayed silent. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I want to hear your side. I blinked. No one had said that. Not once. I've been getting emails and messages all week, she said. Lena said you cut everyone off. She made it sound like you'd had a mental break. I let out a breath. No mental break. Then what happened? She asked. So I told her. About the birthday. The silence. The invoice. The message I sent back. The accounts I cut off. The confrontation with Erica. I told her everything. There was a long pause when I finished. I see, she said softly. No one mentioned the birthday. Or the invoice. Of course they didn't, I muttered. She sighed. Aaron, I'm so sorry. That must have felt like you didn't matter. I felt the lump rise in my throat before I could stop it. I cleared it quickly. Yeah, I said. It did. There was a pause then. You were right to draw the line. Maybe it's about time someone did. It was the smallest validation, but it cracked something open inside me. Just hearing someone say it out loud, without defending them, without twisting it, without asking me to apologize for existing. That night, I sat on my porch and watched the sun dip low behind the apartments across the street. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I was just finally done being used. And a few people were starting to understand that. I woke up one morning to 4 notifications from Instagram. Erica had posted again, 3 cryptic stories and 1 actual post. The kind of passive-aggressive stuff she was famous for. A dimly lit photo of a coffee cup with a caption that read, "Some people only love you when you're useful." Another one with, "You can't choose your family, but you can choose to destroy it." And the kicker. A selfie with the caption, "Still standing. Still smiling. Even after betrayal." There were no tags, but the message was clear. I was the villain now. I didn't reply. I didn't reach out. I just turned off notifications and moved on with my day. But around noon, I got the email. From Lena. The subject line was just my name. Aaron. That was already bad news. It started like a letter she might have written if she actually believed she was in the wrong, full of soft language and performative empathy. I understand you're hurt. I never meant to cause pain. Families go through hard seasons. It dripped with phrases carefully engineered to sound caring, but they didn't land. Then, toward the end, came the real gut punch. Despite everything, we forgive you. When you're ready to return to your family, we'll welcome you with open arms. I read it twice, my jaw clenched the whole time. We forgive you. Like I was the one who needed to be absolved. Like I had committed some grievous act of disloyalty by simply refusing to be exploited. I didn't respond. I just opened my laptop, pulled up the last folder I hadn't touched yet, the boring stuff no one sees, vehicle registrations, insurance perks, address sharing apps for deliveries and travel alerts. The last strings. I severed them all. Removed Curtis's name from the car title he'd once convinced me to co-sign, just temporarily. Unlinked their home from my delivery services. Pulled my email from the airline's family loyalty plan that got them priority boarding. No more shadow logistics. No more hidden connections. No more ways for them to live comfortably off the structure I had spent years silently building. I thought it might feel cold, but it didn't. It felt clean. That afternoon, I got one final group message from Lucas, of all people. Lucas, you've officially lost your mind, bro. You canceled Dad's car registration? You're literally sabotaging the family. All over a birthday? I stared at the screen for a moment, then deleted the message. That was the last piece. The last bridge. The final cord they used to tether me to their world, one quiet expectation at a time. I didn't feel triumphant. There was no music swelling in the background, no movie-worthy moment of empowerment. Just me, alone in my apartment, with a fridge full of groceries I bought myself, and bills that I paid with money I earned, no one else benefiting, no one else draining it behind my back. I wasn't burning bridges anymore. I was just clearing the wreckage. And for once, I wasn't sorry about it. The letter arrived on a Monday. Handwritten. That alone told me everything I needed to know. Lena didn't write letters. She sent perfectly punctuated texts, carefully worded emails. Her handwriting belonged to another decade, pristine cursive, like something from a thank you card you'd keep for a while and then throw away when it started curling at the edges. I found the envelope in my mailbox, nestled between a grocery flyer and a credit card ad. No return address, just my name in looping script across the front. I stared at it for a while before bringing it inside. I didn't open it right away. I left it on the counter while I made coffee, checked email, and stood at the window for a few minutes doing nothing. Something about it felt final. Like the last chess move in a game I hadn't agreed to play. When I finally sat down and slid it open, the letter was exactly what I expected and worse. It started with a soft apology. We never meant to make you feel excluded, she wrote, as if feelings were things I had conjured from nowhere. She acknowledged that things got messy, that emotions were running high. But every word was wrapped in soft blame, not outright accusations, but suggestions that maybe I'd misunderstood, taken things too personally, reacted a little too strongly. Then came the pivot. She wrote about Lucas and how he's hurting too. About Curtis, how he's been so sad lately, though he won't show it. About Erica's posts, about how we all make mistakes when we're in pain. Not once did she mention what they did. Not the birthday. Not the invoice. Not the years of silent expectations. The second page was the kicker. We're ready to forgive you, she wrote. Whenever you're ready to come back, the door is open. That line stopped me cold. Forgive me? They had rewritten the story completely. In their version, I'd had an outburst. A breakdown. A selfish moment. They were the stable ones, the long-suffering family, willing to let me return after my little rebellion had run its course. It wasn't a letter. It was a script. Choreographed, just like every talk they'd ever initiated. Every Thanksgiving where we were expected to forget what happened the year before. Every, let's just move on after someone said something cruel and never apologized. They hadn't changed. They were just extending a polished hand back into the role they needed me to play, the responsible one. The provider. The backbone. The one who swallowed it all so the rest of them could feel stable. I folded the letter slowly and slid it back into the envelope. I didn't tear it up. I didn't burn it. I didn't even throw it out. I just put it in the drawer with the rest of the noise I no longer responded to, because it didn't matter anymore. I wasn't coming back. Not to their rules, not to their guilt, not to the illusion that things had ever been okay. That letter didn't change anything. It confirmed everything. The lease was short-term, month to month, just my name on it. A second-floor unit in a quiet neighborhood outside Madison, the kind of place where people waved but didn't ask questions. No shared utilities. No lingering mail with someone else's name on it. Just a beige mailbox with a little gold, 2B stuck to the front and a door that only opened when I said so. It felt good. The apartment itself wasn't much, old hardwood floors that creaked when I turned too fast, a slightly dented fridge, and a view of the parking lot. But for the first time in years, the space around me didn't come with strings. No one asked why I moved. The leasing agent didn't blink when I said I was a freelance developer. I paid the deposit in full, signed the paperwork, and got my keys within the hour. That first night, I ate dinner sitting on the floor, a takeout container balanced on my knee, watching a documentary on my laptop. No one was siphoning off my Wi-Fi. No one was logged into my Netflix. There was no buzzing family group chat, no forwarded bills, no, can you take care of this? Just silence. Clean, simple, uninterrupted silence. And for the first time, it wasn't lonely. The freelance work came in slowly. Small contracts at first, troubleshooting old WordPress sites, reconfiguring cloud setups, the stuff no one wants to touch. I didn't mind. The money was steady enough, and I had plenty of time to breathe between gigs. I started taking long walks in the morning. Found a used bookstore down the street and let myself get lost in it for hours. Started cooking again. No one was watching. No one was asking for a share. One afternoon, a voicemail popped up while I was folding laundry. Unknown number. But I knew the voice immediately. Erica. Hey, she said. Her voice was low, slower than usual. I don't know if you'll even listen to this, but I figured I'd try. She paused. I could hear her breathing. I've been thinking about what you said, about how no one ever showed up for you the way you showed up for us. And I don't know. Maybe you were right. Another pause. Longer this time. I'm tired, Aaron. Everything's been weird since you cut everyone off. And I'm not calling to guilt you. I don't know. I guess I miss you. A beat. No pressure. Just, yeah, that's all. She hung up. I stared at the phone for a while, then deleted the message. Not out of anger. Not out of spite. But because even now, even in what passed for an apology, she didn't say the one thing I needed to hear. I'm sorry. Instead, it was still about how things were hard for her. How my boundary had made life inconvenient for everyone else. She missed the support, not the person. I didn't respond. I went back to folding laundry. Back to a life that wasn't about being needed, wasn't about being useful. A life that, for once, was just mine. Sometimes, late at night, I'd still check the shared inbox I had used for bills. Just out of habit. Sometimes there'd be junk mail from old subscriptions I'd forgotten to cancel. But mostly, it was quiet. And that quiet, strange as it sounds, became something sacred. Not silence from being shut out. Silence I had chosen. I wasn't anyone's emergency contact anymore. I wasn't the guy behind the curtain making everything run while everyone else smiled for pictures. I was just Aaron. And that, finally, was enough. The email came on a Wednesday morning. It didn't have a subject line. Just a single sentence in the preview field. We were wrong. You didn't deserve any of it. It was from Curtis. I stared at it longer than I meant to, my cursor hovering over it, the coffee in my hand going cold. I didn't open it right away. Didn't need to. I'd read enough over the years to know what kind of man Curtis was, a man who didn't write emails unless he was trying to fix an image, not a relationship. There would be no apology in the body of it. No admission of guilt. Just enough acknowledgement to sleep easier at night. Enough to tell himself he'd done his part. I clicked it open anyway. There wasn't much more. Just, we were wrong. You didn't deserve any of it. I hope you're doing okay. Curtis. No sign-off. No attempt to start a conversation. Just a soft, too late surrender typed in the kind of plain font that made it feel like a receipt. I didn't reply. I didn't delete it, either. I saved it in a folder labeled, unsent. That's what it felt like. Anyway, like a message meant for a version of me that didn't exist anymore. The one who would have jumped at this, spun it into hope, showed up the next day to apologize for making them feel bad about mistreating me. That version of me was gone. Still, I didn't hate Curtis for sending it. For all his faults, he had done something the others hadn't. He named it. Not fully, but enough. It didn't change anything. But it marked something. A close. Not a reunion. Not a reset. Just the final page of a chapter one had reread too many times. Later that afternoon, I stood outside on my apartment balcony, watching a storm roll in from the west. The clouds were heavy, but quiet. No wind, no drama. Just that slow build of pressure before everything finally lets go. I thought about the email. The years. The weight of it all. And then I went back inside. Whatever door had been cracked open in that message had quietly shut again behind me. And that was okay. Some doors don't need slamming. They just need closing. It had been 6 months since I'd moved. Since the last voicemail. Since Curtis's email. Life didn't exactly become magical overnight. There were still bills. Still grocery runs and slow weeks where freelance work trickled in instead of flowing. But for the first time in years, my time and energy belonged to me. And I liked who I was when no one was siphoning it off. One Saturday, my friend Jeremy came by. We'd known each other since college, the kind of friendship that had survived long silences and mismatched schedules. He brought beer and frozen pizza, like always. You look good, man, he said, dropping onto my couch. Whatever you've been doing, keep doing it. I shrugged. Not doing anything, really. Just not doing what I used to. We talked for a while about his new job, my weird client who wanted a website that worked like an old jukebox, the usual nonsense. And then, when we were halfway through a second beer, he looked around and said, "You know, I used to think you were the most dependable guy I knew. Like, if someone needed a kidney at 3 a.m., you'd probably already have one iced in the cooler." I laughed. "That's not reassuring." "No, I mean it," he said, his tone softening. "But now, I don't know. You seem like someone who finally learned how to say no." I nodded. "It took me long enough." He looked at me for a second, then added, "They didn't lose a son, Aaron. They lost access." That line stuck with me long after he left. They didn't lose a son. They lost access. And he was right. My family hadn't mourned who I was, just what I gave them. When I stopped offering the perks, the passwords, the protection, they hadn't tried to reconnect with me. They tried to restore the benefits. Even now, the only things that came in the mail were holiday cards. No return address. Just "Happy Holidays" written in Lena's handwriting. A printed photo of Lucas and Mia at some ski lodge. A scribbled note at the bottom, "Hope you're well." I kept them in a drawer. Not because I missed them. Not because I hoped they'd change. But because they were proof, not of love, not of healing, but of distance kept. I wasn't angry anymore. Just aware. Aware of the space I'd carved out of all the noise. Aware of how much lighter everything felt when I stopped contorting myself to fit their version of who I was supposed to be. I wasn't the bitter older brother. The emotionally distant son. The quiet one. The responsible one. The tech guy who fixed everything and asked for nothing. I was just Aaron. No title. No role. No strings. That winter, I changed my number. Canceled the old inbox. Set up a new mailing address under a forwarding service. Not because I was hiding, but because for the first time in my life, I didn't need to be found. I started hiking on Sundays. Picked up sketching again. Nothing serious, just quick outlines of trees and faces and old buildings I passed. They were messy and uneven, but they were mine. Sometimes I thought about the family I used to know, but I didn't miss them. Because freedom isn't revenge. It's not the satisfaction of being proven right. It's the stillness you feel when no one else's weight is pressing against your ribs. It's walking into your own life and realizing there's finally room to breathe. That drawer with the cards? It stayed closed. Because real peace isn't about the door they won't walk through. It's about knowing you don't need it open anymore.